Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. We are talking Moon Knight, Season 1, Episode 6. It is the season finale, Gods and Monsters. I'm here with the original crew. First of all, on my side, we have Cousin Cheeto. How you doing?
May the fourth be with you.
And beneath us both, but not beneath us in rank, we also have Bossman. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, I just like to say to both of you, Happy Star Wars Day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to know that, on Star Wars Day, even though there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, which I'm a bit disappointed about, because I really was hoping for some Cassian Andor. But nevertheless, we still have to talk about Moon Knight. Isn't that fantastic? And this episode was the season finale. Certain things got wrapped up. A little bit disappointed in seeing 43 minutes when I first started watching this and thinking, God damn, that's a short episode. Shortest episode of the season, by the way. But I will say this. The crocodile from fucking Peter Pan, it's nice to see that he's got some more work again. Because you know what? That's exactly what I thought of when I saw that fucking thing. Nevertheless, before we start talking about this episode, as the season finale and the season as a whole, what did you think of Moon Knight, Cousin Cheetah?
I thought that this was a fantastic season. I love the pacing. I mean, I know I haven't been on recently because you guys have been going a little bit earlier, which is awesome. But the pacing of this season has been good. Even the episode that I thought I was going to hate, which was the Mindscape Asylum Afterlife episode, wasn't awful. I felt like that they could have trimmed some of that fat out, but it was still really good. Yeah, I Oscar Isaac has beautiful chemistry with Oscar Isaac. I mean, it is by far. Or no, I'm sorry. Oscar Isaac has beautiful chemistry with Oscar Isaac. So, I mean, it's amazing. Watching him. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is probably my favorite MCU show so far. Period. Like, my first was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I know a lot of people are going to gasp and say that's stupid, but it was.
No, it's not. It's not stupid at all. It's a good show.
Yeah, but this is definitely good. The way it started, the way it progressed, and then the way it ended was just everything was so good and so. I almost want to say surgically precise that it was just good, and it did a good job at tying up all the loose ends without. Obviously, I mean, they obviously left us with a cliffhanger. We'll get into that later, which I have some thoughts on too. Yeah, just as a whole, I loved it. I would honestly give this 9 out of 10 as a season overall. Last episode, I'd probably also give a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give it the rating now. I don't care.
Fair enough. Bossman.
It was an amazing finale to an amazing series. I mean, like as I said, this is going to be one of the few times that me and Cheeto actually agree on something. This has been my favorite Marvel series, that television series that they've done, because there's been things where it's been spiritual, it's been theological, it's been psychological, it's been a lot of things, and all of them have been good. And I thought that. I thought when we were going to like that episode 2 or 3, it might have too many moving pieces, if that makes sense. But so I was a little bit scared of it being a bit because it's so short. Like I mean, because like I mean. I mean, I'm going to ask a question. Though you're going to say, "Oh, you don't remember," but I think this is like the shortest one they've done. I mean, I think Loki was 7 episodes or 8 episodes. So
No, they've all been 6 episodes, Bossman, except for What If and WandaVision.
But again, this feels much more structured as a story, much more well paced, well written, and it also gave me a point that I actually know who these guys are and why they might be why they might be a conflict. So it was an amazing series, and I've got to say, this better than Loki, better than WandaVision, better than all of them, because the weird stuff in this was so well managed compared to that it just felt like random crap in the other ones, whereas the weird stuff in this made sense in context of the storytelling they were saying. That's what I think.
Okay, now before I pass it on to Ginger, let me quickly comment here with Daniel Barnes. He says, "Cheers, cousin Cheat. I hope you and yours are having a wonderful day." And he said he's watching the Uncharted movie. Yes, good copies of Uncharted is out now. And everyone in the MCU has to have PTSD, snap, blips, alien invasions, Kaiju battle. Yeah, you're damn right, you know?
Well,
So-
that actually brings up a question. Could I might have missed it, but could everybody see the Kanjus? Well, the gods battling. Like I know they could.
I don't know.
I
I said that.
did they? Okay, I
Well-
didn't think to look when I watched it if people. I thought about it afterward. Like, did people actually see them fighting, or was it they were fighting and people like heard all the noise, kind of like those
Episode
things
2. Do you remember episode 2 where
Yeah.
he could only like give the sort of like feel that he's around without being showing himself? Maybe that's what was happening. So people feel the gust of wind and the sand rising up and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm not too fussed. Ginger, it was just before we start breaking down this episode, we're just basically talking about our feels. How do you think of episode 6 and the whole season as a whole?
So the first 5 episodes were beyond amazing, better than anything I could have expected. I loved almost everything about the series. First of all, the most outstanding part, which is always something I look into, was the dialogue, the script. It's so brilliantly written. The dialogue, the back and forths. It wasn't like your usual cheesy kind of MCU thing that you had. It felt natural. The jokes felt natural. Everything just felt natural about it. I loved how they delved into all the mental health stuff and the condition that he has and the way they did it, and just the general kind of flow of the show as well. Nothing kind of felt like filler until we get to episode 6, which was a fucking disaster.
Oh,
Absolute pile of shit. First of all, I knew Marvel couldn't help themselves. I knew they couldn't help themselves with one of the characters. I knew they were going to do it. And secondly, if you watch the other episodes and then watch this, it feels so rushed trying to get to the showdown. It's really weirdly edited together. It doesn't stick around. It's constantly chopping. It's just go watch the other 5 episodes and then watch this one. It's so weird in comparison. It's like almost a completely different episode altogether. That being said, I did love the fight. The Kaiju fight was great. The fight scenes were well done, but even there wasn't consistency in what do you want, Kat? There's no consistency in how it was edited. So yeah, overall great, but that last episode I fucking hated. I hated it. Yeah, that's all. Jason.
I love it when we're on panel together because you're full of absolute shit.
Why?
Because it was very well paced. And okay, I agree with you that I think the 5th episode could have done a lot of the legwork to get us to that final fight. But at the same time, I really thought that everything was really well done and really just everything flowed together. And you knew you were going to get a superhero battle in the end, but it wasn't like super mega ultra explosion battle. It was like ground level fighting battle, like I don't know, Bat Mummy, like there was some good. And what's wrong? Why can't everybody just have a sidekick with wings? I mean, everybody deserves a sidekick with wings. Captain America.
Okay, look, I mean, before I become all fucking neck-bearded with the character Layla not being Frenchy for a start, and having to do their usual shtick in that area, Moon Knight's powers have changed drastically from what they are in the comic book. Well, first of all, he has powers in this, whereas in the comic books, he just wears a fucking suit. But I can overlook that, tweaking things in this MCU universe just to make the character a bit more interesting rather than just another on the nose Batman. But it just the whole episode, it was all over the place. It was just all over the place. Go and watch the first 5 episodes, then watch this one. It's like a completely different thing. That being said, I absolutely loved the ending, the mid-credit scene ending with Jake. I thought that's great. Jake always being present in the whole show, but never fully acknowledged or seen, is just one of the most fantastic things that they did. And when he pops up in the end with Khonshu and he does what he does, I was just like, that redeems it just a little bit, that last episode, because of that. Because the bit where Mark has slaughtered all these people, but he stops shy. Cat wants the attention. Look, see, but he stops shy of killing the main guy. I was just like, okay, Jake's gonna kill him. Jake is definitely gonna kill him. Otherwise, they wouldn't make such a stupid decision where he suddenly doesn't kill this guy, but has killed everyone else. And killing this guy is actually more important than all the mercenaries that he killed. But then when Jake does the deed at the end, I was like, okay, good. Redemption for that stupid idea.
That was actually a point I was going to bring up. I am glad that they didn't shoehorn Jake into the last episode. I'm glad that because we knew, we saw the very, and honestly, they didn't even really like hint at it a lot. Like there was the one time in Cairo or wherever he was, where
Germany. In the beginning, first episode.
Well, I just remember the one time when he's in Cairo and he's like, "Steven, was that you?" And he's like, "No, that wasn't me."
Oh yeah.
And then the sarcophagus in the mind fuck, and then and then at the end, obviously at the very end, when where he's getting beaten, and then all of a sudden
Layla saw that, by the way.
Which I did feel was a little weird that she didn't say anything else besides who the fuck was that, because like she said what was that, but it's like, no, you should be asking who was that, because if you have somebody there with multiple personalities, there's more than just one other personality. Nine times out of 10 there's normally more than one. But yeah, I really do like that mid-credit scene with Jake. I thought that was fantastic. Gary or Boss Man, go ahead.
I was going to say, I agree a little bit with Paddy. The last episode did feel a little bit rushed. That they just wanted to get us into the Power Rangers bad guy fight, or whatever you want to call it. That it was a little bit. Let's just get about the realm with the dead and anything else. I said the thing is that I did love the fact that Layla wasn't just there just to be eye candy, that she did have a purpose of being in the role. Like, she was there helping free Khonshu. That, and part of me wishes that I could have seen that as part of 5, but I think they wanted to show more of Mark and Steven's backstory in number 5, and I'm part of me is like, kudos on showing that sort of that psychological drama aspect of it. But I would have loved to have seen that aspect of it as well. They just been all shoehorned in at the last minute, for episode 6. But as to say, I'm going to say something now that probably will go down like a lead balloon. Oscar Isaac should be a favourite for a Emmy for this performance, because my word, has he nailed 2 great performances. And the thing is, that is hard to do, to nail to act opposite yourself, but also to nail 2 distinct personalities coming out of the same person, and both of them being compelling personalities. The not one personality you're thinking, oh shit, it's going to be this guy. I thought Steven was going to feel a little bit like the odd man out. Like he doesn't really fit into the role of Moon Knight, but I actually feel like he actually does when he's the white mask and the suit. That sort of thing fits into the sort of personality of Moon Knight now. I just want to see what kind of Moon Knight will Jake be. Will he like be this horrible murderous killer sort of thing? You're like the Mask in the original comic, where he's like this horrible murderous thing. Is that who he is going to become when he's Moon Knight? Just a thought.
Yeah, I no. Oh, I always love the meme that when it comes by, it always says nominated for lead actor in a TV show or whatever is Oscar Isaac, as you know, and then it says co-lead or something like that. It's like in the exact same thing, and it says also Oscar Isaac. I'm like, yes, I want it so much. Like he does. Gary is so freaking right. Like I've been saying this. Like I know I haven't been on the reviews so much on this show, but I mean, like Oscar Isaac is like, he's amazing. I loved him in the sequel trilogy. He's the only thing about those, speaking of Star Wars Day, he's the only thing in those sequel trilogies that I really absolutely loved. And honestly, if they scrapped everything and did a Poe Dameron movie, I'd still go watch it because it was Poe Dameron. Like,
I'll give Kylo Ren his props. He was an interesting character for the first.
Adam Driver's great.
Yeah, and Adam Driver's great too. So I mean, like you take the two good things out of that sequel trilogy, but I'm just saying, like Oscar Isaac was, oh god, he just nails it here so good. I mean, God, can I just want to kiss from him right now?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised because don't forget, Oscar Isaac was also an executive producer on this, so I wouldn't be surprised if they come back for a second series. I really wouldn't be surprised at all. It's been generally well received. Some people like are perplexing how they preferred like fucking Falcon and a Winter Soldier over this. Some human beings I'll never fucking understand, but then again, some people don't understand me and my choices, so that's fine.
No, actually, my favorite's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and this definitely takes its place. So.
Oh, Jesus
look,
Christ. You guys, Americans are fucking weird.
Guys, can we just quickly go into comments here? Daniel Vaughn says, this was my least favorite series. I enjoyed the delving into the mind. I wanted more delving into the actual history. The final battle was so underwhelming. Yeah, blown out of proportion. Yeah, if you know, like when we saw Khonshu versus Ame, I immediately was thinking Godzilla and Kong. I mean, that was going through my fucking head.
Yeah, but I thought it was very well done. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. Okay, keep going.
When I saw Weird Al Yankovic, Daniel Radcliffe, I was thinking the Scousers, Harry Enfield, and I was thinking fucking Godzilla and Kong.
I was just about to post a meme of that.
Yeah. We talked about it in our review yesterday, but anyway, this is Jake, by the way. Jake says, not sure where you're at, but I was so upset at the ending. It only works if they gave us season 2. Well, they ended. They ended on a like, there's more to come here.
Well,
so to speak. I mean, regarding Jake, and it's interesting because they might take, but they're going in a different direction to the comics for sure. But it'll be really interesting.
On 1 second. I just want to pop in here on Bounces. Don't get me started on Layla, please, because I'm going to end up sounding like a neckbeard, and I really don't want to. But don't get me started on what they did there. They committed 2 important characters and amalgamated them into one fucking poorly written character that they just Disneyed another fucking woman here, and that was frustrating as hell. And yeah, I mean are you an Egyptian superhero? Everything that you're doing and all this kind of shit, and it's just like, just make them more interesting. And it should have been Frenchie. Frenchie should have been there along with Marlene. It should have been Marlene and Frenchie. Like,
I knew that would.
But I mean, I did like Oscar Isaac's chemistry with the actress who's played Layla. They seem to have really, really good chemistry.
But that's because Oscar Isaac has good chemistry with anything. He's just phenomenal.
You could put him up against a cardboard.
Don't get me wrong against the actress. No, she should have just been Marlene. She should have been Marlene.
Oh, so it's like the character that you have a problem with.
It's the character I had a problem with, not the actress. She was fine, absolutely great. The chemistry was good, but Layla shouldn't have existed. She should have been Marlene, which is like the wife in the comic books, and Frenchie should have been the other aspects of Layla, the one that's kicking ass and doing all of that stuff. That was actually Frenchie in the comic book series, and that would have been a much more interesting trio together, or quartet, because you got obviously Mark and Stephen as well. But they amalgamated into just like one boringly written character, and it was just frustrating.
Is
Well,
Frenchie a guy or a girl?
Yeah, Frenchie's a guy, and
Okay.
Marlene, who this
Just
actress
white.
should have played. I don't care in the comics if she's blonde. I don't give a shit about that. That's irrelevant. That actress, good actress, nothing against her, should have been Marlene. That's it.
But I know they merged some things together, and I think the fact that because this wasn't the most popular comic book in the world, that they took liberties with it. But it didn't bother me too much.
Yeah, it didn't bother me either.
I knew for a fact that the moment when she says things like Egyptian superhero, and maybe even making the odd save, I thought to myself, oh shit. That, you mentioned about the neckbeards. The neckbeards are going to be a full on force on that. And regarding that, like when she was offered to be the Avatar, I'm thinking to myself, damn, if she takes this offer on, the fucking fandom madness are going to lose their shit.
Oh, they're going to. Well, I want to make it clear though, her look was fantastic. Like,
yeah, it was like a hybrid of Wonder Woman and Falcon.
I know.
But,
I mean, run for his money.
But I mean, the thing is that I disagree with you, Paddy. I think that the whole thing about Layla as a character is that she is his anchor to the Middle Eastern world where he's now in. So, like, she's because her father was, one of the people that took that found the tomb and stuff like that, and that because she's Middle Eastern herself.
Look, I get it. In woke Hollywood, you now need a character that has to be tied to the culture you're portraying.
No.
That's how it goes.
But it's also about representation as well.
They could have done that with Marlene. You know what I mean? I'm just pissed because I wanted Frenchie in the show. We might get Frenchie in the second series. We get Frenchie in the second series. Forget everything I said. But because they have a certain thing they like to do now, it just bugged me that they did that. That's it. Yeah.
Well, a couple of things I felt I didn't get an answer to, like the name on the mobile phone in episode 1. Every name barring one was Layla's and the missed calls. We had no idea who that person was. That never came to pass. And those Egyptian fucking zombie mummies. Like, what the hell? Like, don't you want to understand about them as well? Like, these things were alive for centuries.
But I like that. I like there's a lot of mystery there that forces me to ask questions. I don't like things being force fed to me. I like the fact that
we never got. Like, I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's just an unusual thing, and it's not an everyday occurrence. Like, what the fuck? I mean, like, how is this possible?
Well, this is the universe where we've had a purple guy click out of existence half the population.
We got answers to these, boss man. I'm just saying, I want a fucking answer to zombie mummies. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. Anyways,
I don't need answers to that. I don't think it's to me, it wasn't important enough to get an actual answer for. Like,
I'm curious because, like that too. I mean, there's a whole bunch of these fucking things. Anyway, but look, let's break down this episode, and we'll talk about it bit by bit. So this episode, God and Monsters, Mark's dead body is searched for Amit's statue, and Harrow leaves the compass of the scarab on Mark's chest. I don't know why he did that, but he did. Layla is nearby, emotional but stealthy, and with the statue in Harrow's possession, he's able to upgrade his cane to Crocoax, and leaves the catacombs. Layla grabs the scarab to follow Harrow. At a checkpoint, they stop Harrow. And him and his men are on the road, and Harrow does his Obi-Wan by saying that they don't need his identification or his papers. And then before he does any more mind-melding tricks, he hits his cane on the ground, and he basically sees who's fucking worthy to join his cause. And most of the cops, barring one, fucking die. Layla is about to do the old stabbing on Harrow, but she ends up being stopped by the corpses being reanimated by Hippo Woman. Saying that Harrow's too powerful for her, and Layla has to hold her shit down because she'll have a chance to get to Harrow if she ends up being Hippo Woman's avatar. So this was the beginning of the episode. Are you cool with that so far? Anything from those moments that stuck out to you or bugged you at all?
Just move that.
Penny?
Just remove.
Yeah,
remove the
will do.
comment. Once they've been read, just remove. Yeah, it's a bigger screen.
We need more ginger on our screen.
I did like the thing where we put down his cane, and then all of a sudden we see all the purple things go out of the body, and we just see the body just go like that. I remember to see one guy going, "You don't need this anymore." It's like, oh my god! It's like this is suddenly become very badass.
Purple magic is dark magic in the MCU, so not surprised there. Ginger, from those up to that particular moment,
Yeah,
anything that
massive
stuck out
convoy
with
of
you?
people. No, and nobody was suspicious of the woman covering her face.
Yeah, but it kind of reminded me of like those James Bond movies and those Indiana Jones movies where he's able to sneak around them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you've seen Living Daylights. He pretended to be one of the guys and stuff like that. So
like nobody.
anyway,
pays
yeah,
attention to that,
anyway,
the rest of it, when the hippo kind of possesses one of the bodies.
that was hilarious, by the way.
That was funny. It was interesting.
Cheetah, you got anything to add, or you?
No, I'm no, I mean I kind of said a lot of the beginning part. As I said, some of this stuff did feel a little bit rushed. As you guys were saying earlier, that's why when I think I told you last week that I felt like that the first 20 to 30 minutes could have been mindfuck stuff, and then the last 10-15 minutes of last week's episode could be Layla getting Kanju back out, and then we end that episode 5 with Kanju coming back and Steven coming back as Moon Knight, and then we wouldn't have this kind of rush in the beginning to get to where we got. I still don't think it's as much as a mess as some people.
Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit here now. I've got 3 paragraphs I've got to read, and we can talk about these incidences afterwards. So Harrow reaches the pyramid with the other and with the other avatars of God inside that pyramid. He manages to kill all the avatars. He then releases Ammit, and we get a Killer Croc. So we get Killer Croc's girlfriend. That's what I wrote here. Ammit judges Harrow, and by the way, I did mention earlier before you came on screen that it was good to see the crocodile from Peter Pan finally get another job. Ammit judges Harrow. Ammit judges Harrow, and he's willing to give himself. And I really like this moment, by the way. He's willing to sacrifice himself, regarding being judged on his own scales. But because he freed Ammit, and Ammit needs an avatar, she gives him a pass, so to speak, even though he was judged, and she uses him as his avatar because he freed her. Layla manages to free Khonshu, and with Mark dead, Khonshu wants Layla to be the avatar, but she doesn't trust him, so Khonshu tries to stop Ammit himself. After a little bit of a monologue, but on who's right between the two gods, they have a fight, and then Khonshu feels Mark come back to life. Mark's in the field of reeds. He's not satisfied and cannot enjoy his peace because for the guilt he feels towards Stephen. He turns around and he heads back to the desert and sees Stephen in the sands with his frozen body. He thanks Stephen for helping him through his trauma, and then the trauma he went through as a kid. And then Mark starts becoming sand, but before he becomes fully sand, he places the heart in Stephen's palm, and they both touch in that heart, and that reverses the sand enchantment, and they both become free, and the doors to the living opens. A wave of sand comes towards them, but Hippo Lady on a galleon stops the wave, and then Khonshu offers the moonlight deal again once he feels that Mark's come back to life. Offers the moonlight deal again, and now we see Moon Knight, by the way, walking around during the day, and then he flies to confront Harrow. So with the resurrection of Mark and Stephen, and obviously the first images we got of Ammit, and the release of Khonshu, what did you think of all of that? I'll start with you, Cheeto.
I mean, yeah, it's exactly kind of how I thought it was going to go. I mean, I was curious if they were going to kill Stephen off, but I didn't think they really would. I figured something would happen where they would come back together and they would sing "Just the Two of Us." You and I. And then, their hearts would become one, and then they would, I mean, more or less, that's what I thought was going to happen, and then they would make their way back to the living. I was curious to figure out how Kanju was going to get to Mark. But then it just dawned on me when they were doing the fight. Oh, he could say, like when he came back in this episode, oh, he can sense Mark. Duh. Like, so when Mark comes back to life, he's going to automatically know he's there and then go straight to him. So I'm not going to say it was a cop out, but it was just kind of like a moment where I'm like, huh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I thought the return and everything was good. I thought as I said, Oscar Isaac has amazing chemistry with Oscar Isaac. This moment was honestly, I felt like there were literally two actors acting off of one another, and like it's himself. I can't do it. I'm gushing.
All right. Okay, boss man.
I thought this was all right. This will be one of my few criticisms. I hated the flaming, the CGI in that flaming crocodile. There's some uncanny valley crap about that. I don't know what it was. I think it's because I wanted like kind of like the Conchu like skeleton sort of thing, whereas then the talking flaming crocodile. I mean, the hippo lady looks better than the crocodile did. I didn't really like that. I don't know why it was. I think there was something about the design or something about that. There's something about it that just didn't work for me. But everything else I loved. I loved the fact that he came back. I loved the fact that the hippo lady saved him. I love the fact that they became one heart. I am interested to see where Jake falls into it. Is he going to be like a different? Is he going to be another heart? Is he going to be a different? Like, how did he?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Get to what I'm,
no. But what I'm saying is, as I said, this is one of my few criticisms. I hated that fucking CGI design of that flaming crocodile. But that's me.
I don't know what you expected, though. I mean,
better CGI than that. That's what I expected.
TV budget in the day. Ginger.
TV budget, yeah. So the bit where Ethan Hawke kind of falls to his knees and offers himself, great performance, really good. Just that subtle build up of the sweat and the tears and all of that, and just his mission was to get her free, and then he's just like, I'll offer myself. I thought that part was fantastic. Obviously, seeing Mark and Steven reunite was great. But my biggest criticism, the voice of the crocodile I really liked as well. Obviously, F. Murray Abraham voicing Conju was just genius. But also, I really, really liked the voicing of the crocodile as well. The look was fine, didn't bother me. It looked a little bit stiff and a bit more CGI than the other stuff, but it's fine for what it was. But this was again one of the annoying thing was they go into the pyramid, like that bit felt rushed getting there, and then they go in and those guys form the circle and then bang, flash, cut, weird editing, they're on the floor. That's kind of it. And it's the way it's edited, it's just like I bet you there's like a whole scene here and they just like cut it just to save time. Because don't forget, this was 10 minutes shorter than all the other episodes.
And I noticed that when
yeah, which is weird. But then somebody's videos I watched was like, Disney MCU stuff suffers from last episode syndrome where it all just rushes and goes to shit. So it just that bit felt a bit rushed, but Ethan Hawke's performance was great. The reuniting and coming back to life for Mark Spector was great. Nice kind of supernatural element, and when the bullets come out and all this kind of stuff, that was a great moment. And then my mind immediately went to fucking Rise of the Skywalker when Moon Knight can now fly, and it's just like they fly now, and it's like, okay, they fucking Mary suing Moon Knight. They're just making him into a completely different character from the comics, which it's fine again. But the flight thing just took me out of it. I was just like, okay,
I'll agree. It was very out of nowhere. Why wasn't he using that before? I agree with you on that one.
Maybe it was a glorified glide. Who knows? Before we continue talking.
Maybe that like Conchu kind of kicked up the winds and he was able to.
No, I really feel like he was flying through some of those.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, Daniel Vance says, I can't help but wonder if Taweret isn't lying and is actually Anubis. Anubis is the one who weighs the hearts. I'm starting to think about Taweret not knowing Sing Seamoth. I have no idea what the hell all that's about. Maybe one of you guys can enlighten me.
Isn't that the hippo and the guy and they
Tower
took
is the hippo, and Anubis
Yeah.
was
Anubis?
Oh, okay.
The Anubis was the door. Well, it was not the actual door, but it's the he was the keeper of that gate where they went back to the living. Isn't that
Yeah.
where Anubis was?
Was it the guy, Anubis, the guy in the suit as well, the avatar? Was that Anubis as well?
I don't
The-
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well,
Too many gods in the MCU now. We got
Yeah, too
we're
many.
gonna have Greek gods now. We have Norse gods, got Egyptian gods. It's like
well, look,
But
Layla,
it's nice because I mean you could play the realms thing of it. Like they
I
they
agree.
live on a different plane of existence at different realms. And if the MCU was smart, they'd do a massive fucking well, I mean
God Battle
you
Royal.
would think Thor would kind of cover that with Gore the God Butcher, but they're gonna
that
fuck
would
that up.
be well. That would be interesting actually. Like with
I mean,
yeah,
Gore going across all the different planes of existence, fighting all the gods that we've seen so far.
ooh,
be
and
very
then narrowing
good.
them down a little bit.
Well, look,
Yeah,
Samuel L.
but
Jackson in Winter
we're
Soldier
not gonna see
said.
that.
Samuel
Huh?
L. Jackson in Nick Fury in Winter Soldier said that they're not gods, they're aliens. That's what he said regarding Thor and stuff because he
Yeah.
was in court in that film. So, as far as I'm concerned, they were mistaken for gods. That the Asgardians, they're not
Yeah,
like
and-
celestials, in that. As far as
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
they've done that in the comics as well.
Well, and I mean, here's the thing: is that it's
Yeah.
like these guys. I mean, you're right. Like it's like in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the wormhole aliens are just, omnidimensional beings that are just out there. Like they don't exist in our planet. So that's what these gods are. Kanju
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all. Like they're just omnidimensional. Omnidimensional is probably the wrong word I'm looking for, but like you know what I mean. They're not like on our plane of existence, but they can still come into our plane of existence when need be, and that's why they need avatars and all this other bullshit.
Exactly. That's why they
Yeah.
have the realms and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff and the planes of existence. And yeah.
Anyway, let's just continue here. So Layla helps the boss god, the guy in the suit, before he dies. That's the only way I could describe him. The avatar that is, and before he dies, he tells Layla to stop Amit. She needs to be imprisoned in a body, and more avatars are needed to do it. So Hippo Lady, that's Taweret, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Taweret basically makes an offer to Layla to for Layla to be her avatar, and we get this really interesting moment where she starts to possess Layla, and I got some real Rachel Wise vibes of Layla at this moment when she was being possessed by Taweret. And then when we finally see her in a get-up, for me, immediately I was thinking this is a hybrid of Wonder Woman and the Falcon. It really felt like that with the wings and stuff and the sort of ancient gear and everything. But she rocked it, man. She absolutely fucking rocked it. So I'm looking forward to more of that. Anyway, Harrow is now on top of the pyramid, and all his disciples are on the ground, and he starts to, because he's been upgraded, he's able to get all his disciples to start judging the people of Cairo, and all of the ones who fail, their souls start coming out their bodies, and you can see Amit like eating it up like fucking Shang Tsung, and she starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then Khonshu for some reason is able to match her size, and that's when we get fucking Godzilla versus Kong, and they have a massive epic battle, and Mr. Knight and Moon Knight then come on the scene. I mean, they're basically swapping between each other, Steve and Mark, as their superhero personas, and they take out Harrow's disciples until we only have Harrow left, and with the help of Wonder Layla, they battle them and save random innocents caught in the crossfire as well. And however, Harrow seems to be too powerful, and with Layla immobilized, and Mark about to get another. And Mark about to die, we get another Jake Lockley blackout, and then we see Harrow incapacitated. if you want, I'll just finish reading everything off if you like, because we're pretty much near the end.
Yeah,
Ahmed
finish it.
Ahmed has beat as Ahmed is also, but even though Jake or Mark or Stephen have beaten Harrow, Ahmed unfortunately has beaten Khonshu. So Mark and Layla does a ritual inside the pyramid, trapping Ahmed's soul into Harrow's body, and then Khonshu demands Mark to kill Harrow, but he refuses and demands to be released from the Moon Knight's bonds. And then we're back in the asylum. And Mark and this is a bit weird. Gets a bit weird. Mark and Stephen think that they are in reality, but they see Dr. Harrow walking around with bloody footprints, makes them think again. And then they wake up in Stephen's flat, and we end up with Stephen falling flat on his face with his leg tied up. And that's it, the end of the episode. And then we get the post-credit scene, and with Harrow now imprisoned in a psychiatric ward, I think in England. He's about to take his medicine when a Spanish-speaking man takes him to the outside, and we see it passing a few bodies, like these poor orderlies, dead, but nevertheless, he gets put into a car where Khonshu's waiting for him. But Harrow is not scared of Khonshu because Khonshu can't hurt him. But, however, Khonshu has an avatar of his own, and then we see Jake Lockley, and it's in the form of obviously Mark and Stephen. And with an evil smile on his face, he says something else in Spanish, and then he ends up using a silencer to kill Harrow off, and then they drive off in that limo, and says that's it.
It says Spectre on it.
Oh, it says Spectre, yeah. Abbreviated, but yeah, it says Spectre on the license plate, and that's it. We're done. And season over. And before I pass it on to you guys, I would find it very interesting if the villain of next season, to a degree, is Jake Lockley, and how it becomes very conflicting for Mark and Stephen to have a villain within their own fucking body. You know what I mean? The third persona.
That could be interesting.
How do they deal with the bad guy being themselves? You know what I mean? Which would be very interesting. But they're obviously branching into a totally different direction with Moon Knight to what it is in the comics. So if they go down this route, instead of making him an ally, they make Jake the villain. Because look what he did to those fucking poor nurses. They didn't need to die, but he killed them anyway. You know what I mean? So if he's if they make him the villain, that'll be very interesting. Regarding all of that, what I mentioned of the story so far to the end, what do you think of all of that, Panny?
Right. So we are at the point now. I forgot. But it's where they exit the pyramids now, and he runs on top of it.
Yelena gets her powers, and then they have fights around the streets and stuff like that.
Layla predictably gets her powers and is amazing and is flawless and hashtag strong woman and blah blah blah. Looks great. Loved the performance when the avatar, when the goddess kind of entered her body. Great performance. Totally got the same vibes as you did. But I found that kind of interesting between the two. So if they keep that, I don't know if she's now left Layla's body, but if they keep that and they do that kind of switching, at least we'll get another interesting character that could be good comedic relief. So there's that, but then everything else now just starts feeling rushed, like they're out there claiming souls and all this and all that, and it's just like it feels like it's just kind of rushing along. But then obviously they rushed that along to get the Amit to grow massively, and we get a great Kaiju fight. You can't go wrong. Quickly on that, I absolutely again here where editing aside, the director, I think it was Mohammed Diab who directed this, or the director of photography, with the contrast of when you see like Moon Knight and Layla at the ground fighting Ethan Hawke's character. I keep forgetting what it's called, but you can see the kaiju in the background.
Arthur Harrow.
Thank you. I just love the kind of the visual spectacle of that, and the visual spectacle of the two giants fighting. The bit where Spectre charges up the pyramid and Harrow charges down, the way they did that with the camera, that was great. The fighting on the ground was great, but then the editing starts getting weird again, and you can't see what's going on. So it kind of starts off great, but then it just descends into silliness, and then of course we get the Jake bit where he just kills everyone. Then when he stops at killing Harrow, I was just like, if this doesn't lead anywhere, you know, it's like, this is fucking stupid. Why would he not kill this guy? Then I'm like, oh, but Khonshu lets him go anyway. And it's just like, the deal was kill him and I'll let you go. And then we get the switch to the psych wards and all this kind of thing. And we get the other switch to where he's now in the psych ward. And that was great. But where the concept of what Moon Knight is, again, it falls apart when we see that ordinary guards and people dead now. It's like, instead of just beaten up and put to the side, they're murdered. And that's not really what the Moon Knight character is about. So this does lead, obviously, you know, Jake is coming and all this kind of stuff in the mid-credit scene, which was actually the best part of the whole fucking episode, where he just shoots him at the end. I thought, that's great. That makes sense why he agreed to kind of let him go, because Khonshu knows just how messed up Spectre is as a character. So it's like, yeah, you've got your freedom. But when Jake comes into the fold, I'm back, baby. But you know, the killing of the innocent people inside the ward kind of took away from it a little bit. So it has to set up that he is the villain if they do a second series. It has to. That's what it looks like to me as well. And if they do that, that is chef's kiss.
But you don't mind that though, but that would also be straying away from the comics to a degree.
I'd love it. No, it's fine, but it's an interesting thing because it would be something they could have done in the comics as well. And it doesn't. Not everything has to tie perfectly to the comics as long as it's well done. And if he's the villain, it's just going to be amazing how they tackle it.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually want him to be the villain. Yeah.
It'll be definitely something where they'll have to like go within themselves to fight themselves and all that sort of shit. Yeah. So it's gonna, you know, and it'll be interesting because we've seen what Jake Lockley's about. He fucking fucks people over, man. Like, you know, we see the aftermath of what he's done. You know, like he was dead to rights by Harrow, and next thing you know, he's got Harrow dead to rights himself. Like, he's obviously extremely dangerous. Boss man.
So I thought this was great. You know, it was good to see that Layla has her own powers and that she's not there just to be there. That she actually now has a purpose and she has her own powers. I mean, I'm hoping that like maybe we don't always see the powers, but as I said, when we saw Jake at the end, I thought that was phenomenal. Because the thing is that we've all speculated I'm going to see Jake eventually, and we all thought, nah, we're not going to see him this season. But when we saw him at the end and he shoots Harrow, it's like, okay. And I agree with what you guys are saying, that it'd be great if he is the villain character for that. I mean, I'm going to propose something, and you guys, I see if you guys agree. Do you reckon he's going to be Bushman? That's his Moon Knight persona, because we get with Mark, we get the full Moon Knight persona. With Stephen, we get Mr. Knight with the whole suit and the mask. Is it possible that Bushman is the Moon Knight that he becomes with that? Just a theory.
Well, Bushman, they could do it two ways. When Jake mentioned about how his partner double-crossed him, it could be another person, or it could be Jake Lockley.
I was just thinking that.
But at the same time, why would Jake Lockley then kill himself? You know what I mean? Unless Mark tried to kill himself to stop Jake Lockley from doing any more shit. But at the same time, Mark would know who Jake Lockley. Like, Khonshu goes on about how Mark and Steven doesn't know about Jake Lockley, so it's, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Jake Lockley is Bushman.
Is a whole other character.
Yeah. I mean, but if they do the merger thing,
he's not a personality.
Yeah, but if they do the merger thing, then you know you never know with the way things have been going with this season. And
I'm starting to think now. You know, obviously the actor that died, that was in episode 3 or 4.
Yeah, the French guy.
The French guy that died. I'm wondering if episode 6 looks so weird because they edited him out. and he actually had a bigger role to play in that episode because he just disappears after that initial episode, and we were kind of guessing he might be I forget what the other Moon Knight, because there's another kind of Moon Knight character in the comics, Dark Knight. But I'm wondering if they edited him out of episode 6.
Oh, I know you're on about, yeah.
Yeah.
He basically he looks a lot like Black Panther. I know who you're on about. He's got
Yeah.
very
He's
he's like the black version of Moon Knight, you know, regarding his
it's like
appearance.
the black version of Moonlight, like the antagonist. And I was wondering if maybe they will kind of set that up in that episode. He was meant to be in there, and that's why it's like 10 minutes shorter. Maybe there was a whole side thing with him in it.
Well, and I mean, it was kind of weird because in that scene in episode 3, I believe, was you know, like basically what happened was, you know, Moon Knight just throws the moon at him after he charged by him, and then like he's like all the way across the field, and then he hits him, and then he falls, and it's like, okay, I guess he's done. Like, I kind of see where you guys are coming from with that. Like,
you've seen in the past, like certain episodes have been chopped up because of the pandemic. For instance, that's what they did with WandaVision.
Yeah, that's why I give WandaVision a pass, because episode 6 was clearly affected by the pandemic.
So exactly, yeah, but it has been left open for. I mean, even though people think this is a one and done series, it has been left open for definitely another season, and people are talking about how, you know, the Secret Sons or something like that. What's it called? The something Sons, Midnight Sons. Yeah, they're associated with that, and he's got associations with people like Blade and Ghost Rider and those sort of guys. So that might come into.
We could theoretically get Blade, Moon Knight, and the Black, for example, as the Midnight Sons.
I mean, you could. They're talking about redoing Ghost Rider and all that other stuff. So I mean, you know, you could get Punisher if the Netflix people come in. Like, I would love to have a Punisher or an Elektra.
Disney's Punisher, please.
Huh?
I just look. We've already seen what they've done to Kingpin. Yeah, and that's what, and we've already spoken about this before, but the idea of what Blade's going to end up being, I have a very bad feeling.
I mean, look, in all fairness, if you compare Moon Knight to all the other stuff, it's a lot more violent, and there's blood. There's a lot of blood in this.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think
there's a lot of blood.
I think they're gearing up for like this type of. I think they're gearing up for maybe not as adult oriented as Netflix was, but pretty damn close. I really feel like they're gearing up for
pretty damn close is not close enough as I'm concerned, guys.
Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney do take Blade. I don't think so, because it's a black superhero and they want to make him reach out to a broader audience. They might not go as, say, an 18 rating.
But there is a bar for Blade already, because we've already seen Blade Punisher, by Wesley Snipes. Yeah,
Punisher, you know, I mean, that they set the bar with Wesley Snipes and stuff. In the comic books, it's not as brutal, but they have set the bar. I don't expect that from Punisher. I expect a really good team up with Black Knight, as we saw at the end of Eternals. When you hear the voice, that's Blade's voice. But with Punisher, I reckon it might be their first R-rated venture. I think so. I mean, Moon Knight was a few percentages off being R-rated, really. By the, you know, American.
But you still had those Disneyisms. Yeah, I mean,
but some horror films also have those stupid Disneyisms in them too. I mean, like, you know, it's just because it's a horror. Like, and I mean, even in Moon Knight, they did add, like, in episode 4, they did add some horror elements. I'm not saying it was like, oh, so scary, but like, those magician mummy zombie things were kind of freaky. And
that episode, after me, episode 4 was a decent episode. My favorite episode of the season, in my opinion, was episode 4.
No Moon Knight in it whatsoever. And you complained in the beginning, if there's not enough
I
Moon
agree.
Knight in this series,
I do agree. I still stand by that. I mean, you call the show Moon Knight, it's got hardly any fucking Moon Knight in it. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I don't mind these psychological things.
I love
with more recognized superheroes. Like we've seen it with Batman in the comics, but Moon Knight is a bit of a it's not as renowned. So like if you're gonna give us a Moon Knight show, I want it chock a block full of fucking Moon Knight, him fucking scaring the fuck out of people, being the way that he's been interpreted to us from people who do know about him, but how he wears white so people can see him coming and stuff like that. Being like the reverse unstealthy Batman in that sense, just like coming up to people and fucking them over. But we had this other story arc of him having to stop Ahmet and all of that sort of stuff, which is fair enough, but you know, you can't have it all your own ways, and that's how I'm looking at it.
I mean, he wears white because
Moon
it was the most common. It was just a common color in ancient Egypt. You know, they weren't too big with the color dyes and all this kind of stuff. So it's that simple, and it's a borderline between that and mummification. So we know why he's colored white. It would make no sense for him to be colored black. It wasn't a prominent dye color back then.
Daniel Vance is talking to my girlfriend who passed through. She was putting a new light bulb in the ghost cage. She's already gone, but she did not watch Moon Knight. She thought watching the preview. She's like, that looks stupid. I said, okay.
You got your Milktoast Gaming logo in the corner as well, just so you know.
Oh crap! Oh shit!
I thought that was on purpose. Otherwise, I would have said something. I noticed when we came.
Whoops.
I just noticed it.
Rebellious today.
Shameless self-promotion.
This entire show's just been an interesting, different look of it. Because the thing is that the other shows have been a bit safe, whereas this is taking chances where, you know, they're doing this whole psychological thing. They're doing this whole thing of, you know, is this the real reality? You know, it's doing this whole thing of, you know, it's exploring some pretty deep subjects, you know, including like, you know, parental abuse, talking about, you know, psychological trauma, you know, and how that could lead to different personalities developing. And the thing is that Stephen originally was a joke, but now he's not a joke. And again, that is a very unique thing, where he wasn't a what's the word? I'm trying to find a way for it. He wasn't the comic relief, but he wasn't somebody who people.
He had an arc. He had the arc. Stephen had one of the best arcs in the show. But I just want to quickly add very quickly before I forget that for me the most brutal moment I've seen in these Disney Plus shows was actually from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when John Walker killed that guy after his friend died. He got that fucking shield and smashed that guy's head and probably decapitated him, and then you got blood all over that. That for me was like the most un-Disney like thing I've ever seen. In
even somebody getting their organs mummified,
right.
like
I would say even that, you know. I mean, that was a more horror element. There is a coin toss between the two, but yeah.
But let's just make it clear: when we say Disneyfied, we mean modern Disney, because old Disney was dark as fuck. You know, it was only
Fantasia,
like during like the kind of 80s, commercialization where everything went a bit like softy, fucking puffy shite. But in terms of Moon Knight, when we're talking about it, one of the best things about it was that it roped you in throughout the whole thing, and it didn't need as much Moon Knight as you expected it would need, because you're so invested in the characters, like just so invested in the relationship between Mark and Steven, that all the other stuff was just a bonus. I thought it was just so brilliantly done, so brilliantly written. And that's so rare with the MCU. Usually it's just get the dialogue from point A to point B, lots of exposition and just quippy, crappy jokes every 2 seconds, and then get to lots of action and world-ending third act. Whereas this one was more like, yeah, that's all good, but I want to know what's going on between these two personalities. And that's one of the main things I loved about this.
I would have liked in episode 5, like him having more interactions with the people in the psych ward, in the mental asylum with him, because we saw them at the end of episode 4, but as soon as episode 5 began, they weren't in any the supporting cast who were in the ward with him weren't in the episode at all. And it would have been nice if they maybe went down that one flew over the cuckoo's nest sort of vibe instead of him having to fucking balance the bloody scales, instead of that shit, like that would have been a little bit more interesting. Then it would really make you think, is this what's real and what's not real, and all of that sort of stuff if they went down that route instead.
I mean, yeah, that would have been interesting if it's Stephen interacting with all of that, and then when we switch to Mark, it turns out that all these people interacted are the people that he murdered along the way. Like that would have been a nice twist. So while Stephen is trying to find peace, they're kind of being shitty towards him because they obviously see Mark and he's trying to figure out. Then when it switches to Mark's personality, you have that like, oh shit, moments. Like, hang on, I recognize all these people. I killed all these people. I thought that would have been better than the way they appear.
When do you think Jake Lockley came into play? Because I always found it weird that Mark would turn into Stephen, and then Stephen allegedly or apparently got beaten by his mum. But I mean, I know Stephen's mum or Mark's mum did beat on him, but what persona was he? And I feel that he was the persona of Jake Lockley, because Stephen had as far as he was concerned, he had a good relationship with his mum. So he would never have considered his mum beating on him. So I think when his mum was beating on Mark, he was actually beating on Jake, not Stephen. What do you guys think of that? Is that Spanish thing as well with him?
I always thought it was odd that in episode 5, when she started to go in there and beat, she's like, and then Mark is like, you're not supposed to see that, and I'm like, well, I thought he loved his mom, like, but yet she was. It's either that or he reverted back to Mark when she was beating him, versus Steven when he was just trying to be normal. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, but I think that would make more sense if he was Jake.
I think because obviously, don't forget, he reverts to Steven just as his mom's bursting into the room, but then it's like, well, he should really revert back to Mark while he's getting beaten. But for me, I was like, no, that's when Jake is born, because Jake is born. He's the one that's seeing most of the beatings. He's the one experiencing most of the beatings, and that's why he's a step up of evil compared to what Mark is. Yeah.
Do you think Khonshu had Mark in his sights from the beginning, because we saw the dead bird as they were going in the cave? So maybe he set up for Mark's brother to be killed, and then maybe for Mark to end up having these multiple personalities.
I mean, that's
no, I don't think so.
That's that's some level of the prophets type of bullshit right there.
Surely that dead bird represents Khonshu. It looked like Khonshu.
It was a
remember
bird skeleton, but I get where you're going. It's definitely some like Ben Sisko emissary level stuff right there, like where Khonshu originally wanted Mark Spector to have these multiple personalities so he could eventually take advantage, and he just kind of Khonshu lined everything up to get him to where he needed him at his tomb or whatever, and accepts his help.
Well, the thing is that that doesn't make any sense, because Arthur Harrow was Khonshu's avatar before Mark was, so we don't know how long.
Yeah, we don't know how long before he was.
Yeah. So
fair enough.
So that doesn't.
But maybe he knew that Mark wasn't ready yet at that point, like when he got Harrow.
No, I just don't think that's related. I think that just it all happened afterwards, and he sensed him. Maybe when he was in Egypt, he sensed him, and he was just like, "Ooh, I can manipulate the situation here to work in my favor."
I do feel Stephen and Jake represent Mark's mum and dad. I feel Stephen definitely represents his dad. A kind, gentle guy, whilst his mum obviously went off the rails after the death of his brother. So I feel Jake is going to be representing more of his mum, who would beat the shit out of him as a kid, and that's personally how I see it. So, anyways, any more to add on this, ladies and gentlemen?
No,
gentlemen.
That's it. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go see Doctor Strange. Don't mention anything. No, nothing else.
Well, I'm going to go watch it over the weekend. So
tomorrow morning, 9:30.
I
don't think I've ever been to the cinema at 9:30 in the morning.
In the morning?
In the morning, yeah.
Fuck me, man. Well, at least you don't have to do any stupid fucking kids. Hopefully.
Oh
you
no!
know?
Look. Touch wood in my cinema. Another one you go to. I fucking hate that one. But at my one, touch wood, it's always quiet. Always. Because at £15 a ticket, everyone's very bloody quiet. So they make sure that they get
It's
their
not
money.
bad. 15. Honestly, £15 a ticket is pretty good.
No, that's a rip-off, mate. That's an
No,
absolute
yeah, don't get me wrong,
rip-off.
it's still a rip-off, but considering, what I've come across, but I'm a bit more central than you, so it's
But you've got the View
I,
Cinema
I,
near you.
yeah, I'll take £15 a ticket if I could. I think it's like £18 a ticket. You know what I mean? And I go to the View in on Finchley Road, which is like near Swiss Cottage, so it's a bit more
Oh,
fucking
that
upmarket. Yeah, I
I know
don't
that
like
one,
going to
yeah.
the one in Finchley. It's full of fucking chavs and dickheads. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I hate that one.
Yeah, I hate that one,
cinema.
man. Yeah, everyone's going, yeah, bro, whoa, wagwan, all that sort of shit. Like, I don't want to hear you. I want to hear the fucking film, not your fucking ass. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you got every some fucking
I'd say come to
ghetto
my
head
one, but
there.
the one you go to is probably closer to your house than.
No,
than M4.
I'm gonna fucking do a Jack Sparrow. Anyway, all right. So I said today's Star Wars Day, and so I think the next thing on the menu, television show wise, will probably be Obi-Wan. I know you're looking forward to that, Ginger.
I am. This trailer drops, and now I'm just like, oh fuck. But overall, I am looking forward to it. Deborah Cho, show me what you can do.
Yeah, it looks very interesting. And Marvel wise, I think the next one
Miss Marvel
is
in June.
Miss Marvel. So I'm
Doctor
interested.
Strange.
Well,
No,
the
television
TV show.
Television.
Oh, Miss Marvel. Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I like how they changed her powers in that, by the way.
yeah.
I think it'll be good too.
I like the change. I like making her cosmic. It's cool.
Only
Exactly.
because you're
So,
Cosmic Ginger. You're the Cosmic Ginger.
Damn right.
so and when's The Boys coming out? Is that coming out in June as well?
I think so, or the end,
Oh, yeah,
early
yeah,
July.
June.
It's like 30 some days on my
Can't
app.
wait
Yeah.
for that. That actually, I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait. I just want to quickly go on about that. Are you happy with the fact that they're getting superpowers now? The boys are, as it shows in the trailers.
Yeah, don't mind. They get the V source or whatever it's called.
See, for me personally, the whole point about it is regular people going up against superheroes. If they end up being supers themselves, then it kind of takes away from that. So I'm not sure how I feel about that.
You know, they're gonna run out at some point of the stuff, and then it's gonna be like, oh shit, we actually have to fight them on our own, kind of. It's gonna be interesting. Let's see where it goes. I mean, series 2 was a lot of annoying filler and side plots that pissed me off. So hopefully this one is more focused on the main thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Evil Justice League. Yes.
Yeah.
And they're going to
they're
form
not
their
evil
own good
Justice.
Justice League.
No, they're not evil Justice League. They are a Justice League that people think is good but happens to be evil. There's a difference.
So it's the American Justice League.
Yeah, the American Justice League.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, and myself and Cheetah will be back tomorrow doing a double bill of Star Trek.
Remember?
Oh, sorry, I apologize. Cheetah won't be because he's doing Doctor Strange.
I'll be doing Doctor Strange.
He's doing Doctor Strange's number 2, and I'll be here tomorrow talking with hopefully a couple of other Trek heads regarding the final episode of Picard season 2 and the first episode of a whole new Strange New Worlds. I can't wait for that shit. All right.
And then I'll be there for Young Justice, baby.
Yeah, fair. Very good. All right, don't
And
forget to like, share,
Ginger is
subscribe.
not doing Halo. Sorry, Daniel Vance.
No, fuck Viacom, twat.
Yeah. Well, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye-bye.